Hi, my name is Petra Dahm. Today, I'm gonna talk about the opportunities and challenges for immersive technologies in the healthcare sector and give you an overview of what we are about at StellDirVor. But let me first start with a short introduction. So, I'm Chief Innovation Officer of StellDirVor, a startup company based in Munich, Germany. To give you a little bit of my own background, I have been working globally as a strategic consultant for digital transformation and innovation for nearly 20 years now with my own consultancy firm. With getting introduced into immersive technologies back in 2015 in Asia, I was immediately convinced that these technologies, including virtual reality and augmented reality, will be at least a part of the next digitalization wave and will definitely have a huge impact on many industries, including healthcare. Originally, the plan was to found a new company for XR in healthcare already in 2019, but then the COVID pandemic came across. So the decision was to shift the founding plan into 2020. And we started with an intensive research, instead not being able to let interested people experience our first ideas and products. Finally, StellDirVor was established late 2020 with an interdisciplinary team of doctors, educators, innovators, and technologists. StellDirVor, which is, by the way, imagine in German language, is now in its second year as a consultancy, distributor of best-in-class XR applications for training and process optimization, as well as a development company for own platforms and immersive media in the healthcare sector. But let's now jump to the topic. How will immersive technologies influence the healthcare sector and vice versa? Only a few months ago, the so-called Metaverse has been set off with all kind of related trends like NFTs, blockchain, crypto, and more. With the international media picking up, a lot of questions came up around it, and there is a lot of information, but also misinformation. Fact is that immersive technologies, including virtual reality and augmented reality, are not really a new phenomenon. A lot of R&D activities have been taken since many years around the globe. What supports the new push is a coincidental race of different elements, including hardware, software, UI UX design, connectivity, bandwidth, sensoric, just to name a few, honestly. In addition, the COVID pandemic served as a driver for digitalization and remote applications and systems. A big benefit for immersive technologies overall, and especially in healthcare. To give you a short overview of the technologies, virtual reality, which is in short VR, mixed reality, which is in short MR, and augmented reality, which is in short AR, let me introduce you to the so-called reality-virtuality continuum, established already in 1994 by Paul Milgram and Fumio Kishino. The continuum describes in a very basic way the transition from the reality, the world we are present on the left, to the virtuality, a completely virtualized world on the right. Let's start with augmented reality. If we look at augmented reality, we will have the ability to use either smartphones, tablets, glasses, or lenses to augment or extend our reality. If you remember one of the most common AR games, Pokémon Go, there was an interaction of digital elements with the real world. The same principle is already used for navigation or measuring elements, as we all know from our smartphones. If we look now towards the other end of the reality-virtuality continuum, we will find virtual reality. While augmented reality is extending the reality, virtual reality is replacing the reality and simulating a new one. A lot of the current development in VR has been achieved from the games and entertainment industry, but there are already now a lot of serious games, trainings, simulations, and virtual rooms for collaboration in the business field, as well as fantastic examples in VR arts and events, leading towards a completely virtual world you might know from the movie Ready Player One. If we go back to the reality-virtuality continuum, we see mixed reality in the middle. MR describes all forms of combinations of augmented and virtual realities and has probably the most promising future. Last not least, X realities is the umbrella term for all realities, be it virtual, augmented, mixed, haptic, auditory, sensory, etc. We see the X as a placeholder for X possibilities that we might not even be aware of today. With this introduction, you should now have a good understanding of the different technologies, and maybe some of you have already used one of it without even knowing that it was part of X realities. Okay, so far so good. But what impact do these technologies now have on healthcare? Let us have a closer look. What is the status and where are the opportunities? From the current perspective, there are many amazing X-reality research activities around the globe covering all kinds of different fields in the healthcare sector. Some of them already made their way into specific products. These range from a more technical aspects like how to combine X-reality with haptical elements to train or support surgeons in operations, which we see, for example, over here, to more therapeutical aspects like how to help patients overcome traumata or anxieties, which we see here in the middle, where we see a VR view of a user through the head-mounted display, and it's covering spiders, as you see a spider traumata. In addition, there are further activities looking at processes in hospitals, for example, to examine how X realities could support hygiene or team collaboration, and other projects concentrating on the production security of pharmaceuticals and how to support patients or caring relatives on a day-to-day use. Showing two examples here. So one is looking at a smart device from the company Medtronic, where you see, for example, if there is anything missing. So this could be already very useful in a clinical process. And here you see the example of Goodly Innovation. It's also a Munich-based company, and they have been specializing in AR activities. You see the HoloLens here. And what they do is to support the process, the hygiene process in the pharmaceutical production with augmentation, so with augmented information to help, if there is a need, if you don't know how to handle the next step, for example, in a production process, and they're very successful with that. Last not least, we see a big general advantage in relation to the understanding of medical interventions. Imagine a doctor can explain together with a patient on the visualized body what an intervention looks like and why it is necessary. What you can see over here was an example of Brain Lab, again, also a Munich-based company, and they are developing with another device. You see here the Magic Leap. Some really amazing solutions for the medical care industry. So, for example, you see here that the doctor and the patient, they are looking at a tumor in the head, and yeah, both can see yeah, how it looks like, and how to best treat it, and yeah, why it's also necessary to go through the treatment. So as you see, a lot is already going on, but the overall discovery of immersive technologies in healthcare is honestly only just beginning. There is still a lot to discuss, clarify, and develop, as it is quite common with new technologies emerging. So if you remember, for example, the internet or the social media and the app development, I think, yeah, we have been covering the same kind of questions and challenges. So these range from general but also regional legal and regulatory standards, questions around hardware availability, interface management, software implementation and system services in everyday medical or nursing processes, to ethical questions around the use and application from a user or patient's point of view. That is why we at StellDirVor have decided to support the healthcare sector with a very holistic approach, covering, on one hand, the consulting of innovation projects using XR technologies, the distribution of best-in-class applications for education and training, as well as the development of specialist XR solutions and platform concepts for the process optimization in hospitals, as well as medical technology companies. Currently, we are offering solutions for 4 different areas in the healthcare sector, with a focus on knowledge transfer and process optimization using XR technologies. In collaboration with nursing academies and technical universities, we are elaborating VR scenarios for standard procedures and AI-assisted training solutions for ICU nurses and caregivers. What you see here is an example what we have built up, for example, for the blood sugar measuring. With US-based company Symix, we are working on virtual reality simulations for group trainings, which you see here an example. So yeah, there I'm coming to that a little bit later. You see, yeah, like a patient's room in the hospital, and you see here very, yeah, very tiny, the 2 people who are currently in the VR operating in the simulation. Together with PTC, an international leading company for AR solutions, we are developing an initiative for assisted services in hospitals in the EU, where you see an example here. So yeah, I will tell you a little bit later. And last not least, we are in close contact with different medical technology companies to discuss how digital twins of their products and services could support the onboarding, training, and service with XR. What you see here is an example of a X-ray device. I think it's also from Medtronic. Yeah, where it's explained where is a critical zone and where is like a non-critical zone, and you get some extra, yeah, extra content next to it, so that, yeah, people who will work with this device on a day-to-day basis can train in the forehand or retrain as much as they need. So let me give you a little more insight in every field we are covering. So, as we are all aware, the workload in caregiving can no longer be managed without the use of digital aids. With a holistic approach to digitalization, we promote, support, and relieve the workload of care staff, putting people at the very center. And this is honestly very important for us. So we are not developing digital devices or digital solutions just for the digitalization. We always want to put people at the very center from a very user-centric approach. With the use of virtual reality and augmented reality, we have then the ability to cover the complete lifestyle. So on one hand, we can motivate new and young generations with, for example, 360-degree videos and virtual tours in VR. So what they have the ability to is get to know the team, get to know their place where they will be working, and get a general insight of what their future work will be like. We can also pre-qualify and help with the evaluation of international staff locally in the country already with the virtual reality courses. So this is something we just explored with a partner in Germany with a specific case to see if we can onboard and pre-qualify nursing staff from Mexico. We can also help with qualification, obviously, like the Skills Lab. So we can build up standard operation procedure competence with XR learning, for example, and also VR training. We can support achieve process efficiency in the onboarding process. So instead of every time a nurse has to partner with a new nurse to explain, let's say, basic things, we could use intelligent devices and AR assistants to onboard new staff. On one hand, quick, but on the other hand, also sustainable, because they can check again if they forgot something and make the whole process a little bit more effective. And last not least, we can also use it for on-job assistance. So for example, we are working with QR codes. So these QR codes, for example, are placed on specific elements where you have the need for more information, for example, because the process is either very complicated or there is a device which is very complicated, so that you have the ability to refresh your knowledge or check out if there is anything you'd like to read or to understand. All that is to the benefit of patient safety, as we follow the principle never first on a patient with VR training and simulation. And the first feedback we got from nurses was really that they had a very much better feeling in the first days, let's say, because they already made some first experiences in VR, even if it's virtual. But it helped them really to get a better understanding and at least a first understanding of the basic procedures they have to run through. Then the second one, let's have a look at assisted services and the smart hospital. Well, we know that hospitals all over the world are working on digital strategies and performance optimization towards a smart hospital approach. So the interplay between augmented reality, smart devices, big data, and other technological innovation drivers opens up added value for hospitals, especially in the so-called secondary areas. So not the patient-related areas, but the secondary and obviously also the secondary and thirdly, I hope that term is correct, areas. So what do we do here? We help ensuring, first of all, the availability of necessary equipment. So for example, with finding an interface between smart devices, for example, or from the logistics approach, we could see if material is missing, if there is anything critical running out of stock, or anything like that. And this could be placed to the AR glass, for example, of someone who's taking care of the overall logistics. Then we plan scenarios to the benefit of reducing energy and consumption costs. For example, well, if we see that there is, for example, a full area of the hospital not being used currently, And we can reduce, for example, the light and the heating, as well as also the power. We could possibly use that on our tablet, like you normally have, let's say, in the mobility sector, where you've got a good overview of the full organization, and then you can easily identify, okay, maybe you can plug down the power in this area, and overall the consumption cost can be reduced dramatically. We support audits and compliance with hygiene measures. So, for example, this is also could also be run on AR glasses or on tablets, where you see where you have like a documentary if someone has met all the regulations in the hygiene process, and to see that everything is running in a good measure. We also help build and serve predictive maintenance systems. There we are currently working, as I was already describing, in the interfacing of different elements, so that we are measuring data, we are trying to learn from this data, and then we are trying to give, for example, a service person or a maintenance person the ability to have that on the AR glasses, so that we are ready when this person is running through the organization, through a hospital, already has a perfect and optimized navigation to maintain whatever the task or his or her task may be. Again, all this is to the benefit that with AI-supported assisted services, measurable results can be achieved for saving resources, and as I was saying, increasing efficiency in the whole organization. The next pillar I'd like to come to is simulations. This is a field we are honestly specializing in with our partner Simix. So simulation training in virtual reality offers a useful supplement to live training for the preparation and follow-up of simulation trainings, as well as for the expansion of on-site training scenarios. So remote TBI training is on one hand accessible from anywhere, regardless of the location. It is resource saving, so there are no travel costs, no material consumption. If you think about the mannequin, no blocking of training staff, no blocking of rooms, for example, operating theaters. So it's a lot of, let's say, benefits that come together there. The other good thing is that the training is very flexible. So simulations can take place at any time with as few as 2 people, one operating on the laptop, for example, or on the tablet, giving instructions as a trainer, and the other one being in VR, as you see here, and being active in the scenario. And there is a verifiable sustainable training success, because studies already showed a significant increase in learning success with active interaction and learning from mistakes, which is honestly also something we are building upon very strongly. Sorry for that. So coming to the last one, medtech companies. Here, immersive technologies offer effective added value across the entire value chain of the medical technology industry. In combination with virtual reality and augmented reality, staff are actively supported in day-to-day operations, and quality as well as patient safety are demonstrably improved. For the delivery of learning content, training and mandatory instructions, virtual simulations offer an effective method to train entire teams on-site and remotely. Augmented reality apps supports with valuable information quickly and exactly where it matters, and thus increase the quality of work. Visual instructions and assistance simplify service and maintenance work, and thanks to AI-supported assistance apps, errors are corrected more easily and quickly, even by the own staff. So think about, there is an incident happening in the operating room or in the theater, and the nurse or an assistant could help themselves because there is a tablet showing exactly the right way how it should work again. Individual instructions can so be created or errors avoided in advance thanks to learning systems. So what we are saying here is that we are already now trying to pilot a system with AI integration. So we are building upon machine learning processes so that in the long run, the system could learn more from either the device itself. So if there is anything which is happening more often, it could on one hand be very beneficial for the medtech organization themselves to work on a product update, let's say, or that this error is eliminated. And on the other hand, it could also lead to a more user-friendly approach when you see that there is like a mishandling or a misbehaving. So yeah, again, it's not only beneficial for the people in the operation itself, but also as a feedback for the medical industry technology, for the medical technology industry. So again, all in all, we strongly see the benefit of increasing the productivity in hospitals there. So to summarize the opportunities, and I think I've mentioned many of them, and yes, there are many of them, and I'm very convinced that immersive technologies have come to stay. The thriving development of hard and software and the increasingly better experience of using immersive technologies will definitely lead to a better acceptance, both in the organizations and on the user and patient side. On the other hand, we still need an open discussion with regards to the use of these technologies based on ethical and data privacy questions as part of the overall digital health development. And we all know the more digital we get and the more integrated processes, we will definitely have to see where the data privacy of one person will stay. With this being said, I'd like to end my presentation and hope that I could give you an insight of where immersive technologies currently stand in the healthcare sector and how we at StellDirVor are already using opportunities as well as meeting challenges today. So I'd love to discuss more with you, and it's a shame that I cannot be with you in person today. So I can only say thank you for your attention, and please send me an email with your general or individual questions for a specific case or application if you have any. Thank you again, Clinica, for having me. And I really hope that you all have some more interesting days at Clinica Summit. And see you next time. Bye.